Hi, welcome back to the channel. This week we're looking at Arps, and specifically Arps inside Serum. Arps themselves in Serum aren't particularly new, but there's still a couple little tricks that I think aren't particularly well explored. So let's cover them off today. So the first thing to do, change the grid to 16. And by doing that, it changes the x-axis, which is the number of steps in a conventional step sequencer, if you like, and also the y-axis. They become exactly the same. If we turn it down to 2, for example, we now see that it's split into 2 on both the x and the y-axis. So we know we need it to be 16 because we basically creating dance music, which revolves around a 16-step sequence, and that also creates 16 y steps. And that's not a problem in itself, so long as you're aware of it. So now that we know that, let's go into our matrix. Let's put the source envelope 1. We know that needs to go to oscillate a coarse pitch because we're obviously modulating the pitch being an arpeggiator. And the depth now needs to link up to the number of y steps. So we're going to say 16 semitones. So now each one of these steps corresponds to a semitone. So nice and neat. So obviously it follows that the third line here, the one about here, that is a full octave. And then you've got an extra 4 steps on top of that. Let's just change this to 1 bar. And if we hold down Shift and Alt, we can make this perfectly stepped up and also left and right. So let's put it all on the bottom for now. We're going to solo Serum. Let's just check that I currently have the note on, it's currently on a D. So let's go to our tuner here. Let's just check on playback. Indeed, we have a D. Let's turn it up to here to what is expected to be 1 octave up and play this back. Amazing, we have a D. Let's go 4 steps up and that should be, if I'm not mistaken, an F sharp. And on my tuner that says a G flat, but that's obviously the same. So we are getting somewhere. Let's put this back down now. I might just move the bass up to D sharp, not for any particular reason. And now let's draw in our first arp pattern. So obviously that's incredibly annoying, playing back with a constant volume on the oscillator. So let's skip over to LFO3. Let's keep LFO2 blank for now, and go to LFO3 and turn this down to 1 bar. And we're going to put this on ramp down, and then draw in a pattern like so. Let's assign that to the level. So it's starting to sound like something that we want. Let's turn on the filter. Going to go MG low 18. Let's also assign that to LFO3. Make that unipolar. Maybe some voices. So that's sounding quite good, but it's only 1 bar and we want it to be 2. So how do we do that? And this is where the first trick comes in, and also why we skipped over LFO2 at the start. So let's now copy LFO1 into LFO2 like so. That's exactly the same. Let's also assign this one to coarse pitch like we had at the start. Once again, 16 semitones. Set to unipolar. But now, as you can see, they're both playing simultaneously. So let's open up LFO5. I've skipped over LFO4 for now, but I'll come back to that in a sec. So on LFO5, let's now put this on 2. And then we'll do all the way 0 down the bottom, all the way 0 in the first half, and then all the way 100% in the second half. Put this on 2 bars. Put this back up to 16 so we don't mess it up with our arpeggiator, so that still stays 16. And then we're going to assign this as the aux source for each of the LFOs that we set up previously. So LFO5, LFO5, 5, and 5. We can turn this off here just to clean it up a bit. So now of the first bar, there's no arp playing and it only comes in the second. So to fix that, we need to invert it. So go invert and invert. That said, before we skipped over LFO 4, let's now put this one in action by copying 3 across, and then LFO 4 we're going to now assign to volume like we did earlier, like we did with LFO 3, and also to filter cutoff. Make sure they're the same. So this one is 45, 45, and then the cutoff is 31. These also need to have the aux source as LFO 5. Also need to invert this one here. So basically, to summarize what's happened now, we have, look at this as 2 sections, or 3 sections. We have this section here, all of here, this square, that is the first 16 steps. And the second section here, these last 3 rows, that's the second 16 steps. So first 16, second 16, and then this block here, or LFO 5, this determines that at the end of 1 bar, it will flip from the first 16 to the second 16. So playing this back across 2 bars, you can't hear any difference as yet, and that's because both of the patterns are exactly the same. But now if we go to LFO 2, and then let's change that pattern a bit. Let's make sure we have it on flat. And now we have a 32 bar arp. We can now go to our envelope. And once again, this is the first 16 and then the second 16 bars. And we can play with these. And with some kick and bass. So there there you have it, a 32 bar ARP in Serum. I hope that helps, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.